The following podcast contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hey, Sarge here.
Oh, hey, Frenzy here.
From the Sarge Approved podcast up here in Minnesota.
Yeah, okay.
You're listening to the Showdown podcast.
And you better keep listening, don't you know?
Fuckers.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare? Phantasm. Is it an illusion? Phantasm. Is it an evil?
You have to take me home.
But why?
No questions. You must take me home.
Phantasm. Is it a fantasy? Phantasm. Is it alive?
There was nobody driving.
Whatever it is, if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm.
It's the 3-time award-winning Showdown podcast. This is our third Spooktober series episode.
See, not Spooktakular.
I told you it was the Spooktakular.
Yeah.
It's something.
Vic this weekend was trying to change the name of it, saying Spooktober or Spooktakular. I'm like, I don't think it's that many words.
I don't know if it's ever been the same thing.
I know.
It's never been the same thing at any one time. We've always named it something different every time.
I can't ever remember it. That's why.
This is the.
That's why I was like, why are you going to choose now to take a hard line on your stance as to what the fucking name is?
This podcast has won awards.
Yes, we have.
Not in a while, though.
No, it's been a couple years.
We're starting to
Last
become
year.
that team.
Yeah.
Remember that title? We're the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Remember how good we were? We won those 3 awards. They're like, yeah, when was that? Shut up.
Holy shit, it took 2.5 minutes to get to a fucking sports reference with you two fuckers.
Well, it happens.
Vic,
2.5 minutes.
Vic, you want to tell us some stories about when you played football back in high school?
This isn't one of those shows.
Okay. We did Phantasm.
Yes, we're doing
We'll
Phantasm
get to that.
this week.
But let's start off the show with talking about our weekends. Corey, what did you watch this weekend?
I only saw, let's see, one movie this weekend. Besides Phantasm, I saw Baby Driver.
Okay, and that, of course, is where Alec Baldwin does the voice of a character who is a getaway driver.
That's correct. No, it's Edgar Wright's new movie. I had heard so much good stuff about this beforehand, about how...
I thought it was John Travolta that did the voice.
No, it's Alec Baldwin. But I just thought it was all right. I mean...
I liked it. I saw that a couple weeks ago. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it, but it wasn't as good as everybody was hyping it up to be.
Is this a continuation of the Driver movie?
No, has nothing to do with that.
Who was hyping it up as being something bigger than what it is?
Oh, I just heard on different podcasts where they would say, "Oh, it's such a great movie" and stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, I want to check it out, but it was just all right to me. I mean, I was, as far as giving it a star rating, I was between a 3 and a 3.5. I was just like, I'm gonna give Edgar Wright a little bit more, because I'm a fan of Edgar Wright, so I lean more towards the 3.5 than the 3. But those that watched it with me were just like, they didn't really care for it too much. They actually gave it 2.5. So, there I am overhyping it.
Who are you watching it with?
My wife and Stevie.
They give star ratings too?
Sometimes, yeah.
Hold on, is that a conversation at the end of watching that movie? Go, okay, well, how many stars would you give that movie?
Yeah, actually, sometimes.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Everyone log into Letterboxd the D.
Right.
Synchronizing reviews.
Yeah, this it actually just makes it into my top 10, but it's not going to last too much
Top
longer.
10 of this year?
Top 10 best stuff this year, but it's not going to last. We still got the new.
With a 3.5, it makes your top 10?
Yeah. Well, my top 10, everything's going to be 3.5 or higher. So, yeah, I know. But no, I mean, we still got a Star Wars movie and the new Thor movie for this year, so it's not going to last.
Yeah, but are you going to see the Star Wars movie or the Thor movie before the year's over?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He'll go watch those, but
Yeah, I'll be
trying to get him to do anything else. You got to fight him.
Opening weekend, I'll be there for Star
ticket.
Wars for sure, and Thor probably second weekend. What about you, Brad? Did you see anything?
I saw Happy Death Day.
How was that?
It was good. It was about what I figured. It was more comedy than horror.
Which is weird.
Why?
Because it's kind of billed as a horror movie.
But I mean, it is. But at the same time, I mean, it's also billed as a Groundhog's Day of horror movies.
Yeah.
So, and they show a lot of like the comedy parts in the trailer.
Oh.
It's kind of, I don't know. It was.
Were you sick of the 50 Cent song by the end of the movie?
That's not the song. That's just what they used for the trailer.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, it's not they used.
Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot these days.
Wow.
It's the song that they end up using was it's like it's just like it's my birthday. I don't got an answer.
It's my birthday.
It's like a generic thing.
Oh, that makes it even worse. I'd rather hear the 50 Cent over and over again.
I'd have been okay with that, but it was fun. It was funny. It was well acted. There wasn't a whole lot to complain about, but it also wasn't like great. Like it wasn't one of my favorite movies I've seen this year.
Yeah. Vic, did you see anything?
So we had a kind of in-house movie weekend. We watched a bunch of really bad Godzilla movies all weekend. We kicked it off with the first of the Godzilla remakes with Matthew Broderick.
Oh God!
And
why
then
did you
because it was on. It was on.
So you weren't.
We were flipping through
You weren't trying to torture yourself.
No, there was nothing else on. It was good background noise, and we're like, you know what? Let's watch some more Godzilla movies. So there's actually this. It's a more recent Godzilla movie where it's actually supposed to be filmed like a horror movie, where Godzilla is like this demon lizard that comes to Tokyo and starts fucking everything up. And it's weird because he has like 5 different forms that he like changes into and all this shit.
What the hell
and
is
by
he,
the
Transformer?
By the end of it, he's mutating. So it's like he's mutating because of all the nuclear energy that he's building up inside of his body. And by the end of it, when they actually stop him, it's they fire this like freezing coagulant into his blood system, and it freezes him. But as it's freezing him, it's like he's getting ready to switch to his final form, which is like all of these little Godzilla human hybrid demon things. So that's pretty crazy. It's called Shin Godzilla, but it's. He starts out when he comes on land. There's like this like mollusk-looking weird like slug thing, and then as he goes along, he starts like transforming and changing into the traditional Godzilla.
Was this one?
And he's just literally just fucking everything up.
Was this one of the ones that was made like in the 50s? Was this made in the 50s or 60s?
No, this is a newer one. This is a much newer one.
Oh, okay.
This was like recently made.
And it's a Japanese film?
Yeah. But Godzilla is it's got a lot of CGI to it, but it's better CGI than you've seen in most things. And he literally just starts fucking going. He just goes fucking ham on all of Tokyo. He has like 5 or 6 different forms of like his flaming breath. At one point, they drop a bomb on him. He gets pissed off, and from the wounds, like fucking laser beams start flying all over the place. It's crazy.
Is it
It's a
worth
crazy
watching?
fucking thing.
Is it worth watching?
Yeah, I mean it's bad enough that it's good. Like it's at that level, so it's definitely worth watching. It's an interesting take on it. So, and then we watched Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, which is horrible.
Space Godzilla?
Yeah, Space Godzilla. So the G cells, the Godzilla cells that were shot into space somehow and taken into space by Mothra, were sucked into a black hole and somehow materialized with organic crystals in the black hole, which then spawned Space Godzilla.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Who comes down and tries to kill Godzilla and Godzuki, Godzilla's offspring.
I can really relate to Godzilla with that whole, letting your DNA go into a black hole and then all of a sudden having a baby made.
Spawns a whole nother Godzilla. Yeah, exactly. So
I forgot.
It was an interesting.
I forgot that I watched one other movie. It was Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and I was wanting to watch a horror movie. I was just kind of in the mood. It's October.
Because that's what people want to do on a Sunday morning.
Well, yeah. When I get up at 9 a.m, yep, that's what happens. So I'm looking through Amazon and I found one, and it's called Pigs. That's it. It's like it goes by several different names, but it came out in '72, and it's about some chick who escapes from a mental asylum after having. Well, you don't know this until later, after she had killed her dad because he was abusing her, and then so somehow she ends up getting put in an asylum, which they didn't show any of that. And then she goes to town, and then it turns out this guy that she goes to work for, who owns this little restaurant, has a bunch of pigs, and he ends up he's been killing people and feeding them to the pigs. And so with her there, then that just kind of helped a little bit. A really bad movie. I'm surprised I sat through it, but there wasn't anything else to watch, so I actually watched the whole thing. But yeah, I don't recommend that one. So
Vic, how many movies in before you got to Has a body boo?
I actually couldn't talk him into watching that one.
Wait, they
Seriously
were okay
was
with
trying.
Space Godzilla, but King Kong
yeah.
versus Godzilla is where they drew the line?
Right, yeah,
well,
It's
Dad, we've
true.
already seen that one. Let's watch one of the other 15 other bad Godzilla movies.
Well, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, there is. All right. So what do we do? What do we do first? Typically, we do
History.
History. Let's do
Jesus
history.
Christ. And now, the Showdown Podcast History. Corey, go ahead.
Today-
And wait your turn. Vic.
Payback's a bitch. So I saw this movie for the first time. I think I was probably about 12, 13 years old. And it was one of those, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and it was on.
And so you stayed up to watch it.
So I watched it because I was like, yeah, it's 3 a.m. I'm going to scare the piss out of myself.
It's 3 a.m. I could either watch Phantasm or sleep. I'm choosing watching Phantasm.
Sure.
Brad, what about you?
Watch it today.
Yep, just like me, it was the first time today too.
You guys have never watched any of the Phantasms?
Nope.
Interesting.
This has been the Showdown Podcast History. All right, Vic. Do you know what time it is?
I know what time it is while I waste time to bring back up my fucking thing that went down. So give me a second while I find it. And we're on.
All right, it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Bankroll Bust.
And on this week in Bankroll and Bust, we are challenging Corey to figure out the box office take for the 1979 movie Phantasm. Corey, what is your guess on a budget of $300,000? What would you say?
So do I get leeway of about $3,000?
You get 30,000.
30,000.
Oh yeah, I didn't do good in math. I went to public schools. I'm going to say, I'm not saying 100 million. I'm going to say 1.5 million.
Brad, are you prepared, or should I do the honors?
Well, you didn't hear that, but you can do it again. Thank you.
The correct answer is $12 million.
Okay.
So it's a hit.
Bad. Yeah, that's really good for 79. Like, that's a lot of money for an independent, what was considered an independent
Well,
film.
considering how much money the budget was.
Yeah, because it was literally considered a like locally financed independent film. So it was on the level of Clerks.
I think most of that budget was spent on their celebrity cameo.
Vic, why don't you tell us about Phantasm?
All right, so basically what we have is this
Everybody's
quiet
going
little
gloss
town.
on over that, huh?
Well,
I didn't want to throw the joke off.
Oh,
you know,
for once
at
you
times-
decided to back away from the joke when I actually wouldn't have minded somebody.
Okay, who
Well,
was the
you know.
celebrity?
We'll get to that later.
All right. See, there you go.
You're so quick to throw barbs. We're in defense mode, fucker. So it's about this quaint little town, and for some reason, everyone in this town seems to think it's a good idea to go fuck in the graveyard. So that's how the movie starts out. This guy's making out with some chick in the graveyard in a purple dress.
A little more than making out.
Yeah.
He's getting he's taking care of business, or she's taking care of business, whichever one you want. But Tommy, the man in question, laying some pipe, he gets killed.
Yeah. This scene reminded me of the opening scene in Poultrygeist when the couple's having sex in the cemetery. I kind of wondered if that's where they kind of got the idea from. Of course, Poultrygeist takes a completely different path afterwards.
What year was that movie made?
2005-ish?
Oh, so you're saying Poltergeist got the idea from this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I heard that the other way around. I'm like, I think you're saying that incorrectly.
No, I think that's where they got the idea from.
Yeah. So we're introduced to our main characters. We're introduced to Jody Pearson, who is 24 years old. He's a musician. He's from Iowa, in case anyone needed a date, Corey. And his little brother, who's 13,
You know an awful lot about
Mike.
this guy's... he was born in the hospital and...
And his little brother, Mike, who is a fucking whiz with a fucking wrench. This kid, he's 13 years old. He's driving a fucking Hemi Cuda like it's no problem.
No,
and
by the end of the movie, he's driving the car. Actually, he did it in the beginning of the movie.
he drove it in the beginning of the car. Yeah,
And
I
his
know.
older
Thanks for
brother's
jumping in there.
riding a bike. I think
Right.
they had that
Well,
backwards.
This kid rides motorcycles. He drives cars. They're from Iowa. There's not a whole lot to do out there.
I guess not.
But the kid also, he's being raised by his brother because his parents died. So he's, he goes to the funeral. They go to the funeral for their best friend, Tom. They watch him get buried. And the little brother, being the nosy little fuck he is, hangs around following after his brother and notices that the mortician, I guess was that what they would call him?
Yeah.
The mortician or the grave, the grave, whatever,
The tall
grave
man.
digger, the mortician, or AKA the tall man, as he's referred to in the movie. He literally takes this 200+ pound man, and it took 6 people to carry to his grave site. He just picks the thing up under his arm like it's a cardboard box,
Yeah.
and throws him in the back of the hearse and jumps in and drives off. Well, thinking nobody sees this, the kid is freaked out, and he goes to his brother and tells him what's going on, and he's like, whatever, dude, you're seeing things. And so that night he goes back
Hold on, Vic. How
right.
great would it have been when that guy showed up on screen if you just would have heard?
I'm not sure Vic gets this reference.
Oh, it's the Undertaker.
Okay.
Oh, the tall man! Oh, he's big.
I couldn't hear what it was, but I knew what he was going to pull out in that reference. I just knew. Something inside my soul said that there's an Undertaker reference coming up.
Oh, he's so strong. He picks up the coffins with one hand. No.
Wasn't that guy's name Paul something?
Paul Bearer?
Paul Bearer, that's what it was. See, I know a little bit.
Get
not
it,
much.
Vic!
And we are
Paul Bears.
about 35 minutes in
Paul Bear.
before the.
His name is like a dead thing.
Like
What?
it's dead
His
thing.
name is like a dead thing, like a funeral thing.
What are you talking about?
Paul Bear, his manager.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about. 'Cause that's what
Who carries the caskets at funeral, Vic?
the pallbearers?
Paul Bear.
What are we going off about exactly?
Oh,
Was I incorrect about this or what?
no, he was
No, I was
just.
just pointing out that I'm named after something with a funeral. If you think about it, it's pretty clever. Oh, tall man. I can't wait for the sequel when his brother shows up.
Carry on, Vic.
There are actually 4 more versions of that, 4 more to this movie, so
Yeah, I know.
that could happen for you. His little
Tall
brother tells him
man,
what's
you
going on.
will rest.
Little brother tells him what's going on, and his brother doesn't really believe him, so he goes back again the next night because this time, even though his best friend got murdered in a cemetery, he decides, I'm going to go drinking. I'm going to pick up a chick and take her back to that same cemetery and try to hook up with her.
I know. It's like
This is a smart idea.
This one's for you, Kevin.
it's
His name was Tom.
Tom.
it's like the dude has his own house.
Yeah.
Get my dick wet for you, brother.
Literally not even a week later, and he's trying. He's
Why
doing the
would you
same
take her to the same cemetery your buddy just died in? Take her back to your
Right.
house.
Yeah. Well, his little brother was there. He didn't
So?
want to,
Not in the same room.
I'm gonna fuck her
Yeah.
for you, buddy, and then I'm gonna make her pay for the abortion.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh yes, the abortion.
Oh, so
Another dead
he goes back and
body.
follows his brother to the. He follows his brother
That's what's
because
in
he feels like his
there.
brother's going to leave him out, leave him
All
or
the
leave him out.
ashes of
So
all the
he goes back
abortions.
to the cemetery, and he sees he notices the tall man again.
You
and
have
he
a
decides to
brother, tall
investigate.
man. He's an abortion doctor.
He's going to investigate, and when he gets himself in trouble, his brother bails him out, and his date ends up leaving, or actually she gets kidnapped.
Yeah,
and
because
he gets
the
afraid
hold on.
because he gets chased down.
Yeah,
That-
that's what I was gonna say. The brother was watching, and
I was watching him fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, with
and,
binoculars.
and then heard some noises, and he got spooked and started running off. And the time it takes for the older brother to realize what's going on was really long. I thought it was hilarious because it's like, wait, did that just happen? Oh,
It was
okay.
like I could continue getting trim, or I could chase down my idiot little brother who shouldn't even be out.
Yeah, it's like he sat there for a minute trying to debate whether or not he should keep going or just run after his brother.
What would you have done, Corey?
He'd have finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't take him that long anyway. He would have
He
been done
would
by
have
then.
gotten his rocks off.
So
None
he
of that
takes after his
bitch's
little brother.
face.
The little brother can't take no for an answer. So after he realizes that he tells his brother again what's going on and that there was this little thing chasing him around in the woods and all this stuff. And the brother's like, look, there's nothing out there. Just calm down the fuck down and stop it. Or stay the hell out of the graveyard. That would be the best fucking idea.
Yeah, if he would have just stayed away, this whole thing would have been averted.
Right.
The entire movie.
So he sees, he's still following around the gravedigger guy, the tall man, and he starts following him. He realizes that the tall man, when he's walking around town, he sees their buddy Reg, who is an ice cream man.
Yep.
An old school ice cream man, I guess, who delivers ice cream sandwiches to stores in his little white outfit and his bow tie. They find out, oddly enough, that the tall man does not like cold for some reason. Because when he opens up the back of the thing, he freaks the fuck out, and he kind of gets frozen where he is, and that's where he really realizes that the kid is following him. He makes eye contact, the kid takes off running. So he, again, the next night, the little idiot decides, I'm going to go and break into the mortuary and see what's actually going on in there. So he walks up to a window and does not even try to cleverly get in. He just kicks it open and climbs in.
Yeah, it doesn't care about being hurt at all.
Yeah, nothing. He at least kicked the excess glass out. And he gets in and he kind of goes around he starts looking around. and one of the gravedigger guys comes in, and he jumps inside of a casket, and he's kind of hiding in there and watching what's going on. And the tall man walks in, and they both walk out. So he starts exploring again. And in his quest to find out what's going on, the tall man sees him, chases him down. He runs into the basement. He tries to get out the window, and that's when he finds out that there are little fucking shrunken, midget, dead zombie creatures in the employ of the tall man. They try to stop him. They take his shoe, but he gets away. But not before he manages to cut off the fingers of the tall man.
Yeah. They reminded me of Jawas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they look like. Really.
Slimy fucking Jawas. But unlike most people in horror movies, when they find something strange, this kid's smart enough to grab the proof because the tall man's finger is still moving.
Well, that's a little bit later. That's a little bit later that he does that.
No.
We forgot one thing. We forgot one thing. The fortune teller scene.
Oh, that's right. So the kid, who he likes this chick, this little girl, and she has a grandmother who tells fortunes. And he's like, "Can I talk to your grandma?" And she's like, "Yeah." So grandma wheels up to the table, and he's like, "Look, there's something fucking strange going on around here." She's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just don't be afraid."
Hold on, this was where the money was spent on the cameo.
Oh, is it?
Wasn't that Ozzy Osbourne playing the grandma? This was John. This is fucking tall man. Is fucking works with the others. Got the midgets and the fucking slaves. Fucking Sharon. These kids fucking in the cemetery. Sharon.
I think that might be where the budget went.
Yeah, you sold me now.
Sharon, the tall man. He looks like.
So the kid goes and talks to Ozzy Osbourne, and he finds out that the only thing he has to fear is fear itself. Sounds real familiar. As a small coffin appears on the table out of nowhere, and he's like, "Oh, that's strange."
Yeah.
Why does the tall man look like the nemesis to like the cool guy in an office type movie, like a Dwight Schrute? Just like the guy who takes everything too serious, like you can't clock out till 5. It's 4:57.
It's only 4:59. You have to wait.
Yeah.
The Sean Stowman telling me when I can't fucking.
She's like, "Put your hand in that box, little boy."
I'd be like,
and,
"No."
He
put your hand in the fucking box.
Reluctantly, and the box clamps down around his arm. He freaks the fuck out, and they're like, "Calm down. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let go of your fear."
Calm down. I'll get the box off you, Sharon.
I'll get
this fucking box off of this kid.
So he was trying to teach him a lesson, like, don't be afraid of shit because shit can't hurt you. But I'm pretty sure that all of this shit that he's going up against can hurt him because it's trying.
Yeah.
And then he progresses.
Tied down on this podcast. Held back. You motherfuckers are holding me down.
He proceeds to break in, and in the end, he ends up taking the fingers off of the tall man, in which he grabs one of them to take with him to prove, "Look, dude, I cut this guy's finger off. This yellow goop came out of it, and it's still fucking moving."
Yeah.
So he takes it to his brother, explains to him what happened. The brother's like, "Whatever, dude, let me see." He opens up the box, and the finger, which was a finger at one point.
It's still a finger when he sees it.
It's still moving.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay." So
he's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you're right."
Yeah, he's like, "That is weird. Wonder how you did that." And he's like, "All right, so this is just weird."
This whole scene, this whole progression of scenes is so weird if you really pay attention to it, because it's like they start out in the living room, and he's like, "I got to tell you something," and then it cuts to them sitting on the front porch with the box. Then it cuts to them in the kitchen, and he's already put it away, and he has to run back upstairs to get it. I'm like, what happened there?
Low budget.
Apparently so.
Low budget.
And I wasn't paying enough attention. I'm not even so sure they weren't wearing the different clothes.
No, they had on the same clothes.
Okay.
It was just a different budget. It's low budget. You know how that works, Corey.
You've
been there.
I know, but you got to have some kind of better transition there.
Well, you know. So they end up discussing the fact that this is all going on. The brother still doesn't quite believe what's happening. But they end up calling in Reg, their buddy and ice cream purveyor, to help them out and try to figure out what's going on. And he explains to him like what his brother saw and everything, because through the course of this, the tall man has just put his sights down on this kid like fucker knows what's going on.
Well,
I
hold
gotta
on.
stop him.
Don't forget that after right before Reg comes over there, the boy had gone upstairs to get the box so that when Reg did get there, they could show him. But when he looks in the box, it's changed into some kind of flying bug that he has to sit there and try and control.
It looked like a mini critter.
Yeah, a little
with
bit.
wings. And it ended up in his jacket, and it started eating a hole in the jacket. And they had to put it in the disposal unit, and they tried to crush it up in the disposal, but apparently it can survive that. And it tried to come out and kill them again, and Reg finally saw what was going on, and he became part of this whole situation too. And through the course of this, the tall man, they end up going to the tall man's thing again, because they're like, well, he's stealing bodies. Like, they figure out that he's stealing bodies because he stole Tom's body.
Yeah.
And then they figure out, they're like, okay, so he's stealing bodies. He's got these weird little fucking midget guys working for him, creepy ass grave diggers and, strange creatures trying to attack us that were fingers but are now like little booger monsters. So they're like, we got to figure out what's going on. So instead of leaving fucking well enough alone, like most people would,
well,
they decide we're going to go check this shit out.
Vic, you got to remember, these are white people.
I know.
That's what we do, Vic.
Yep.
You'd think you'd learn, but after all of these horror movies, you think
waited out long enough, you could become the fucking governor of Delaware. After all the white people just get themselves killed going after scary things.
Exactly. If this was supposed to be filmed in Iowa, so there weren't any black people involved. Luckily enough. So they end up going to the mortuary, and they want to check and see if their parents are in their coffins, because they were also buried in the same cemetery. So they go and look and see, and sure enough, their parents are not in their tombs. So they know that the parents have been taken as well. And basically what's happening, because they find this room, and the room has a bunch of fucking barrels with little windows in them that are full of something.
Makes you wonder what the windows were for.
Well, it's for the little dudes to look out of. They didn't want them to be like in the dark the whole time. He's being nice, like you poke holes in things so they can breathe. You put a window so they can see.
Right.
When they got in the room, they're like, okay, so there's a bunch of fucking barrels, and they're looking around, and there was this like sterile white room, and there's these two like little metal pillars, and the kid, being as dumb as he is, decides, I'm gonna check this out. And he sticks his hand in, and it disappears. So he pulls it out, sticks it in again, hand disappears, pulls it out.
That happens sometimes.
Almost ends up falling in, but his brother grabbed him by his belt because he was looking through and he saw a bunch of those barrels and a bunch of little evil Jawas in a line, and they seemed to be being shuttled away by other tall men, and he automatically assumed that they were slaves. I don't quite get that, but that's what he came to. So he came back out after they pulled him out, and he told him what was going on. He's like, hey, there's a whole other planet over there through that gateway. I don't know what's happening, but they're turning all of our family and friends into slaves after they die. And basically what's happening, to make a long story short, for those of you who don't know, basically it's a portal to another dimension. And in that dimension, gravity is so much more that they have to squish the bodies of the people and reduce them down to these little evil Jawa-sized people in order for them to be able to survive in that environment. And in the process of that, they also remove their brains and turn them into the real, I guess, nemesis of these movies, the orbs, which are these silver balls that fly around the mortuary, and they're bladed. They have drills on them. They are basically like automated fluid removal units.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they just drill into your head and like shoot all of your vital fluids out through the other end.
And that's kind of aside from the tall man, I think in terms of horror lexicon, I think that those orange balls, those are the icon of the movie.
Yes,
that's what everybody knows. That's what everybody kind of relates.
Right. If you say Phantasm to somebody, they say tall man and they say silver balls.
Yeah.
Not in that order.
Yeah.
So when the tall man basically he comes for them, they try to hide the kid over with their girlfriends, and they're like, "Stay here, don't fucking get in trouble. We're gonna go find out what's going on because they're tough guys." And as soon as
Sharon, I'm gonna go figure out what the fuck's going on with the tall man.
they fucking leave, this kid decides, I'm gonna go find out what's going on myself, even though I know better. He arms himself up a little bit and he tries to take off. This movie, though, I do have to say, this movie kind of was the precursor to what we saw in your favorite movie, Brad. Because if you remember correctly, they were looking at a picture of way back when.
Ooh, that's true.
And they kind of zoom in on the picture. And as they zoom in on the picture comes to life and starts staring at him like, I see you.
Yeah, because
as soon as I saw that, I thought of that. I was like, oh, that's where this came from.
The boy finds a picture of the tall man on a horse and buggy outside of the same funeral home, and it comes to life, and he turns his head and stares at the boy.
And what is that in reference to?
It.
The original the
miniseries,
yeah.
Just that one part.
Yeah.
When they find the picture and he's looking at the picture and Pennywise comes up and starts talking to him, as soon as I saw that, that's the first thing I thought. I was like,
I get where it's going.
Interesting.
It would have been so much better if they would have had the cameo money for the miniseries to get Ozzy Osbourne for that. John, fucking clown and swords, fucking want me to float? Fucking just tell those motherfuckers, Sharon.
Ozzy, do they all float down there?
Oh, they all float. I bite off their heads and they fucking Sharon, fucking clown. He says he's dancing, Pennywise.
Vic, go ahead. He'll
They capture one of the little guys, and in wrestling with him, they pull off the mask and they find that it's Tom. It's actually Tom's zombified, miniaturized evil Jawa body, and they freak out. They lock him. They lock him in the back of the ice chest, and they tell him to take him back to the house so they can prove what's going on. And as Reg is driving, this thing starts going fucking ape shits and causes the truck to flip over. And now he's just fully in. They kidnap the girls. They take the kid. The Reg and him have to go back and try to save them both. And they take off. They go back to the mortuary to save them. They fight the tall man. They believe that they kill him because they come up with this plan. They're like, well, we can't kill him because every time we think we got rid of him, he comes back. What he doesn't know is that there's more than one. And they get this idea, we're going to drop him down a mine shaft.
Yeah.
And if we can drop him down the mine shaft, then there's no way he's going to come back because we know he's immortal, but he's never going to die. He's going to be stuck down in the mine shaft. So they come up with this plan. He chases the kid. Again, this is kind of a disjointed scene, as you were saying, Corey. He goes out to look to set up, I guess, move all of the signage away from the mine shaft. And the kid goes running right through that area and manages to jump right over where it is. But at some point, he had to have set that trap, put the leaves up and the sticks and shit.
Yeah.
So the tall man runs in. But at no point do they show any of this shit happening. And then at some point, he also set up a rock slide, which once the tall man goes into the hole, they drop the rocks down the hole, thinking that this is going to keep tall man from coming back.
That's the power of rock and roll.
Thanks, Ozzy.
Rolling rocks. John! Tom has a hole. Fucking put some rocks on him.
So they think that he's gone. And
so they think that they've killed him.
Go ahead.
They think they killed him, and they're kind of celebrating amongst themselves. And Mike wakes the fuck up. And he's like, what the hell happened? And then that's when Reggie kind of tells them, what actually happened and told him that he was having a nightmare. Through the course of the whole movie, he keeps having these miscellaneous nightmares that kind of reset what's going on. But in this case, he finds out that his brother actually died in a car accident, and Reggie is the one who's been taking care of him. So it's just this really weird thing.
That made no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does in kind of context of what was going on with him having these dreams constantly, and then the tall man showing up, and then it would kind of reset what they were doing. It's like each time he had a nightmare, that's where he would kind of reset to go to try to find out what's going on with the tall man, and it just kind of progressed. Then would reset, and he'd kind of find out some more information. So at the end of the movie, he finds out that his brother actually died in a car accident. And he's like, all right, he's like, look, we need to go get out of here. Let's go on a road. Let's go on a road trip in honor of your brother. He sends him upstairs to go pack. And when he goes upstairs to go pack, he starts putting his shit away. And when the door closes, you see that the tall man is standing behind him, in the mirror. And then comes through the mirror, some arms of some evil Jawas try to take him, and they kidnap him.
That was the one I meant to play.
And then the credits roll.
They pull him through the window, and the credits roll.
Here's the thing I didn't understand about the whole, like, with his brother being dead, was never alive through this whole thing. Who was he watching have sex if it wasn't his brother?
Well, his brother got killed in the car. Well, no, they're saying that through the part about his brother trapping the tall man, that was like that reset happened before he killed the tall man. So when he got into a car accident, his brother got into the car accident while they were trying to stop the tall man. They're saying that he never made it home that night. He got in a car accident on the way back.
Okay.
So when he died, and Reggie promised to take care of his brother. So then that started the whole thing over again.
So did that ending happen like weeks afterwards?
Where he wakes up at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like he's like, hey, you had another nightmare. Like he's living with Reggie, like they're living in the house, he's taking care of him. So it was a flashback. Like he woke up from the nightmare, and it was supposed to like what had happened. That whole sequence that we've watched at the end of the movie was
just a dream.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Okay, I think
that is all a dream. He's reading What Up magazine. Talking about LPD with the limousine. Sean, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Showdown Podcast.
We'll be right back.
Alright, this is the Showdown Podcast. Before we go ahead, I'm doing the commercials. I know I wouldn't mess with you like that. I just wouldn't be right to do so. So I'm going to tell people where they can find you.
Hey, Ozzy. Nobody can understand you. Can you bring Brad back?
No, just go back or tell the people where they can find you.
Ozzy, I can understand what you're saying, my man. You can find me at MillerKing51 on social media. You can also find me on all gaming platforms as Black and Angry. That's BLAQN Angry.
It seems like you kind of blew your shot there, Coy. I don't listen to motivation to do it. Go ahead, Sharon!
Okay, I'm going to assume that was a cue
That's
for
how
me.
you do it, Ozzy Osbourne impression, just randomly when it's falling apart, just go, Sharon!
You can find me.
I don't think they're going to tell me to find Brad's Got Comedy. Brad's Got Comedy.com. Go ahead, fuck it.
You can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at NKOGonzo. You can also check out Vic and I's other show, the Miller Times Podcast, where we take a look back at shows that we are currently watching and give our opinions and thoughts on what we saw. Currently, right now, it's Gotham because the CW won't fix their freaking app, so we're a little bit behind on that, on the Flash.
No, you're a little bit behind. I've seen them all.
I said we as in a show.
Oh, okay, good.
But yes, I haven't been able to watch
His
it.
incompetence is your incompetence, Vic.
Oh, God damn it. We're all in trouble, dude.
Exactly. Brad, where can they find you?
I already told him. Brad's Got Comedy.
Okay.
Check out WrestleMania. Sharon!
You can also check out Brad and I's other show, the My Way Podcast, where we pretty much talk about anything. This week, we get to find out about my inoperable vehicle that is parked in my driveway, as well as Brad's, what do we call that? Brad's...
Breakup Watch 2017!
Yeah. And a little NFL talk. Check it out. It's on Apple Podcasts as well as Google
I talked
Play.
about a date.
Yeah, he had a date.
It did not go well.
It's a very interesting story.
Oh, yeah, let's get back to the show now with podcast. The guys thinking about Sharon! Welcome back. You look confused, Corey.
Yeah, what? Obviously, this is an Undertaker song, but when is this from?
This is from the American Badass Undertaker.
I thought he used Kid Rock though.
Probably not after a certain point. He used this one. You done it now. All right. We are back, and let's jump right into the decisions. So, Corey,
Yep.
go ahead.
All right. Like I said, this was the first time I'd seen it. It was pretty much, I wouldn't say it was hyped up, but, you know, when you go to enough horror conventions, you see T-shirts and you see paintings and stuff of Phantasm, whether it be the tall man or, as we said, the spiky ball. So you kind of get in your head, you kind of get it built up a little bit, like, oh, this is one of those horror movies that is in the upper echelon that people really like. It's in true like the hardcore horror fans, like this is in their top 20, and so it kind of got built up a little bit. Having watched it today for the first time, I'd have to say that is greatly incorrect. This movie was bad. I thought the acting was not very well, and I like Don Coscarelli. He directed Bubba Hotep as well as John Dies in the End. I like both those movies. I'm not sure if this was his first one, but it just, for whatever reason, it just wasn't good. So that's a no for me.
All right, Vic, go ahead.
I watched this movie when I was like 12, middle of the night or early morning, and I remember it being creepy and all that fun stuff. And then I watched it again after so many years. Literally, I think I saw it like this particular one once. And I was like, all right, I'll watch it again. And I came to realize that the second one is much better than the first one because this was a fucking mess. I'm not quite sure how they managed to pull 3 more movies out of what they did with this one movie.
There's more than 3, actually.
Well, there was supposed to be 4, but the other one didn't make it through. It was kind of like Sleepaway Camp. But yeah, it was amazing how, as a kid, I remember it being creepy and kind of all that, but like it just doesn't hold up like at all. Like it really does not at all. Again, like I said, that second one it's a little bit better story wise, but this one was just it was bad.
So
I am surprised that it became a quote unquote cult classic.
Yeah, I know. So the second one's the only sequel of this you've seen then?
No, I've seen the other ones
you
through
have
the
seen
years,
the other ones.
but the second one was enjoyable. It was it had a certain like comical flair to it. More, they tried to do that with this, but it wasn't there. The second one had a slightly more comical flair. It was more about Reg trying to get to the tall man because he's been haunting him basically since this movie. And they find out that the brother is not actually dead, but he's been taken to that other universe and turned into one of the balls. So it's weird. But anyway, this one just did not hold up for me at all.
Brad, what about you?
Yeah, no, it was awful.
There wasn't any redeeming qualities of the movie at all?
Not really.
All right. Thank you for your contribution there.
All right. It does not hold up. It does not go into the Hall of Fame. Phantasm, thank God it's done.
Yeah.
Fucking Vic.
Hey, let me ask you,
motherfuckers,
Brad.
don't ever say that shit to me after some of the shit you've made me watch.
Name one from me, Vic.
What?
Name one from me that's been so painful to watch.
They're there. I can't give it
Oh, sounds like
to
somebody.
you. You can put me on the spot all you want, but you've had your shit shows too, pal.
No. Here, I'll tell you what we'll do, Vic. I'll help you out. I'll go back and read you my choices. Here we go. Hold on. I can pull them up. I've got the showdown on my phone.
Because you are a
Hold on, I
subscriber.
gotta go to a different thing.
Phantasm was actually his
I don't
third movie.
subscribe. Okay, let's see here. Batman and Robin. Pick?
Okay.
No, wait, that was Vic's pick.
Yeah, that was his pick.
White Men Can't Jump. That was my pick.
Uh-huh.
Juice. Class Act.
I noticed Vic's not coming.
I noticed you're skipping a whole lot of stuff.
I'm
Dude,
skipping the ones I didn't pick.
One of your picks was He-Man. I'm done.
Masters of the Universe.
We haven't done that as a Survivor Series yet. You had to go all the way back, Vic. You had to go all the way back to episode 6, October of 2014. October 16th, 2014. You had to go back 3 years to the day.
Made me watch this week.
You had to go back 3 years to the day.
I can go into the future if you want me to after making me watch fucking Freddy's Dead.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Shit show.
That
if we want to go there.
We did Master of the Universe on October 16th. Is that for real?
That's when it came out.
Yeah, that's when yeah.
Wow. That's crazy that it's today.
Yeah, which means the show has been going
For over 3 years now.
Man,
Just over.
August 30th, 2014 was when the first episode was put out. Man, we've got to be the longest running podcast with no listeners.
No, hold on, Vic. Let me ask Brad
Well, it
this.
just shows that we're doing this for ourselves, not for them. So it's all good.
Vic, let me ask you.
But we want you to listen.
Yeah, of course we do.
Brad, which one was worse, Sleepaway Camp or Phantasm?
Sleepaway Camp.
Damn. God.
Because there was no chick with a dick in this movie. If they would have been like, if then would have been like, oh my God, the tall man has a pussy, then it might have been up there. But thankfully,
God.
no. Okay.
Nice try, Brad. I tried, Corey. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I tried.
All right, that's our show. For Corey Miller,
That is me.
Vic Miller,
That is him.
Black Man in Dover.
I am Brad Scott, thanking you for listening to this episode of the Showdown Podcast. And Spangle, if you're out there, we see ya. I'm a tall man, buddy. I'm gonna cut off my fingers, and then what am I gonna cleanse you with? Oh, I know. I'll use my wrist. Pew, pew, pew.
Horrifying thought.
Sharon!